Hi, I'm Ian Brown, Managing Director of Excelpoint. Welcome to On Point, the first in a series of podcasts brought to you by Excelpoint. For those of you who haven't heard of Excelpoint, we're a global leader in the development of no-code technology. We help businesses all around the world to update outdated business processes, overcome their challenges, automate workflows, and streamline their processes to their benefit. We do this by implementing innovative, automated and highly flexible and adaptable no-code software, typically achieved 10 times faster than bespoke software. Today, we're joined by a leading figure within the manufacturing sector in the Northeast, with over 30 years of experience within the automotive manufacturing supply chain. He's a successful and highly motivated individual, now bringing years of experience to organisations across the UK as a business consultant. Welcome, Mike Matthews MBE. Mike, thanks for joining us here today.
And thanks for those kind words, Ian, very much. Thank you.
Mike, it's good to see you.
Yeah, great.
And as I said in our intro, you've got oodles and oodles of experience in the manufacturing sector, in the Northeast, in industry generally. And I think your new lease of life as a consultant in the UK is going to benefit not just yourself personally, but the industry generally. So out of all of that experience, you'll have no doubt seen massive changes in the last 30 years. And the pandemic's come along, that's forcing change on businesses. Just tell me a little bit of background of what do you think about manufacturing in the Northeast?
Well, first of all, I've actually been in manufacturing for 41 years now. So a little bit longer. And I've experienced all aspects from being an apprentice to growing a business, MDing a UK business and running a European business, working with global customers, very, very demanding customers in the automotive sector, which is quite often regarded as being one of the most demanding and most brutal sectors to work in as a supplier. So I've seen some huge changes. We are now at the beginning of a new era. Some of us are, some of us aren't. Many of us aren't. We're at the beginning of a digital era that, if utilised correctly, should propel companies to the top of their game to become the best that they can be, because that's what this is all about. We've taken manufacturing such a long way in terms of going through the whole Industry 3 piece, but now we're moving into Industry 4. We're moving into advanced manufacturing. And digital enablement is an absolutely critical element of that. My biggest worry, and ongoing worry that's confirmed on a weekly and daily basis, is companies not planning for digital. They're not preparing for digital. A lot of companies don't actually understand what digital's all about. They don't understand what the opportunities are. They don't understand what the benefits are. And it's therefore, why I fully support initiatives like this that are hopefully going to spread the word and motivate companies to take hold of digital and move their companies down that digital journey.
And I'm very aware, as a supplier in the digital sector, we are one technology, but when you talk about digitalisation in manufacturing, there's probably 20 or 30 different technological areas. It's not just business systems, which are our specialism. There are all sorts of digital areas that can be embraced, and for a business owner, depending on scale, that might be a minefield. So we've got some customers who are very large greenfield site, putting up new factories. They've got all of the appropriate resources and background and intelligence behind that. But then we might go to a meeting with a client, very innovative in their own right, manufacturing, leading in their field. And when you look at their operating procedures, they're operating as they did 100 years ago. Nothing's changed.
That's very common, very common.
Very common, very common. So those smaller business owners, while they might be innovative in their sector, I think they are even more challenged. They're time short. They're probably information and experience short, and they need partners, I'll say partners rather than suppliers, to hold them by the hand in any given area, whether it's robotic manufacturing, artificial intelligence, no-code platforms, whatever that might be. They need to be led and guided and educated as part of that process. Otherwise, they'll just be lost in a minefield to some degree.
Absolutely. And, 12 years ago, I visited a company in Japan, Fanuc Roboshot, which is a manufacturer of robots. And this was 12 years ago, over a decade ago. And I was led into a boardroom with a big black window. All you could see through the window was little LEDs flashing. And then the host of the visit turned the light on. And lo and behold, he was a factory making robots with robots. This was 12 years ago.
Interesting.
And there were smaller robots shoveling goods around the shop floor, but they actually had Fanuc robots making Fanuc robots. And, this isn't the future. We're now talking about the past.
Yep.
And this isn't a game of being progressive. This is a game of catching up.
Yep.
And, what I believe we need to see in companies, we need to see them adopt digital as a whole new element in their business plans. They've got quality business plans, they've got technical business plans, they've got manufacturing efficiency business plans, finance business plans, IT business plans, but they're not digital yet. They need to become digital. They need to realise the full scale of the opportunity that digital provides.
Yeah, and I think systems of work can be interpreted many different ways and over many decades. So I think there are some businesses where, and it applies right across the board from the small SMEs right up to the large corporates, where some of their systems of work are still things like spreadsheets. The process is an email chain, or the process is the people. They know what they do next, and that's not scalable. Yeah. It's not resilient. It can't really survive in the modern world. It's a disaster waiting to happen for some of those businesses as predators and newcomers to their space come in, and they can just do it so much better. A friend of mine many years ago used to use the phrase better, faster, cheaper.
Yeah.
The predators come along, they can do what you do better, faster, cheaper. Yeah. And that's the threat in reality for a lot of those businesses. Yeah. Interesting, some of our software is written in our software. So I like the idea of the Fanuc robots, building robots. Yeah. So with a platform like ours, it's to some degree about educating the customer where their return on investment is. Yeah. We put this plan in place, we put this investment in, what does that do for our business? And it's multi-stranded. Yeah. So again, that's not a simple, straightforward proposition to get your head around. Yeah. And in the past, you in your role must have looked at those business plans with multiple strands and had to evaluate that. Yeah. I'm interested if you've got any advice for us how to help customers to understand a complex technology proposition.
Yeah, I do, and I think it all starts with looking at Excel spreadsheets. They've got a place. Mainly their place was in yesterday. It's not in tomorrow. Many business problems that I've personally encountered. The origin of the problems has come from Excel spreadsheets, which is generally because data and information, cells and formulas hadn't been connected correctly, and then you're just working from the wrong points of reference. Personally, I would recommend any business, wherever they can, remove Excel spreadsheets from their business and put in databases. And one of the things I really liked about Excelpoint's software is that it can link lots of different databases and lots of different sources of information and make it work together. But it can do it, in a much faster, simpler, and you can change it as well. It isn't strict code that needs, a specialist programmer to change it. We're moving into the era, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit of a citizen developer where companies can pick up these kind of software and start and improve their businesses. I think the same attitude we apply to manufacturing, continuous improvement, we need to apply continuous improvement to digital information, and every aspect of the business we touch can be improved by digital. There isn't one aspect that can't be improved by digital, one way or another. I've done a lot of work for Hitachi Vantara, one of the world's largest digital enabling companies, and I've seen them do some absolutely amazing stuff to, you know, influence and actually steer ships, create the schedules for large chain pizza purveyors so that they don't run out of the pepperoni at the wrong time or something like that. You know, there's so many opportunities, and if you've got the right product in the right place at the right price at the right time to meet your customer requirements, your customer's going to have a great experience, and subsequently you'll have a great experience.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. I think Excel spreadsheets have their place. I'm not convinced paper processes have their place anywhere.
No.
Reliance on such is a problem. I think being able to work from anywhere digitally, so mobile workers, home-based workers, being joined up and connected to your business all the time is crucial these days.
To add to my, you know, preference to remove Excel spreadsheets, I would remove C drives on computers, that you know, for individuals, because they're just people squirrel stuff away there and nobody else can get at it. Only they know it's there. You know, this is a common. You know, businesses generate information that should be common for everybody and available to everybody, and it can be connected.
Yep.
You know, and the other thing would be paper. You know, we have far too much paper in offices, even today. You know, we put all this time and effort into digital communication, and then we print it off.
Yeah.
When there's absolutely no need to. You know, no need to at all. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In our office, we print very, very little.
Yeah.
We'll occasionally get photocopier salesman call up and say, and do your device. And we think, but we don't use paper, so you know, so it's not a problem for us. I noticed you mentioned connecting up other systems. That's something I think is also a challenge in our sector. Businesses over the years have invested significantly in technologies.
Yeah.
They've built systems, they've built databases, they've got existing working processes that work to a varying degree of not working very well through to excellent.
Yeah.
And there's a natural reluctance, nobody would blame anybody, to preserve that investment, not to throw it away. Blood, sweat, tears, time, money, everything has gone into that. And therefore being able to leverage information to the value of the business that's in these disparate repositories, I think that's key. Don't dispense with it all, leverage it with more value.
Yeah, well, for me, you know, a lot of these heavy expenses, you know, such as large servers, for me, they're also part of the past for modern businesses. They tie businesses down, and moving forward, you don't need to make investment. You can make it you know, an operating expense rather than a capital expense.
Absolutely.
And it's much better for the cash flow for the business. It gives you much greater flexibility, you know. And we talk about repositories, and there is no greater repository than the cloud.
Yeah.
You know, and we all need to move away from the thought that we need on-site servers, we need filing cabinets. No, we don't. We need cloud storage space, easy access to it, so you can access it from anywhere in the world. You know, I used to work in a business, 650 staff, big IT team. Now I work on my own. I look after my own computer. I have a tablet. I have an iPhone which I absolutely live on, and I have cloud storage. I have a filing system. All the information I've got, wherever I want to go, you know, it makes me mobile, it makes me flexible, it makes me efficient, but it also, I can share information easily with anybody I want to.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're an example of, don't take this derogatory, you've come out of the Jurassic age of manufacturing, but you're a dinosaur that's made that transition. You are in tune with the digital world. You know, the devices, the storage, the way it hangs together, most importantly, the way it enables your lifestyle, your business operation, etc. You're in tune with that.
Yeah.
And how to convey and educate others in your sector to get to the same level that you are, that's a challenge.
Well, it is, but I think it's the responsibility of people like me that have made that transition and have probably had a privileged upbringing, let's say, in terms of what I've been experienced with and what I've been presented with. But you know, I'm a 57-year-old social media user, and it's how I connect and keep in touch with my daughters and my mother, my friends, and my family. And I encourage people to use social media. You know, we use WhatsApp because it's free. You can share stuff with it. But I think very, very important for business is digital media to promote their businesses. What digital media does for smaller businesses, it literally puts them on the same platform as household names. You know, you can appear side by side, you know, with a household name if you're offering the same or similar service, or just linked to them, you know.
Yep.
And we've got all forms of digital media. I mean, for me, I'm a great user of LinkedIn. I use Twitter. I use Facebook. But LinkedIn, you know, the way you can connect, and you know, business development now has changed completely to what it was when I started in sales in 1988. You know, no phone, I had a car, notebook, and some cash in my pocket. So if I needed to stop and use a payphone to get hold of somebody or whatever, that's what you did. Now we don't have to physically travel to meetings. We've got Teams, we've got Zoom, we've got Skype. I use them all the time. In fact, for what I would call maintenance meetings, where you already know people, I quite often prefer that because they're much more time efficient. I don't have to travel to somewhere there and back, you know. If it's a progress meeting where I'm meeting a client for the first time, or I actually, you know, some of the stuff I do in factories, I actually have to go to the shop floor. I have to go and do that. But if it's a meeting to discuss things, I'm finding that people are becoming increasingly adept at managing meetings very efficiently using digital media. But you know, you look at LinkedIn and the like, and the opportunities to promote your business. You know, I've seen some of the smaller businesses do the best jobs at promoting their businesses on digital media, particularly through LinkedIn, at almost zero cost.
Yeah.
Which is quite incredible.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. We've got customers scattered around the globe. We've got good customer in Sydney, Australia, Dallas, Texas, Varna in Bulgaria, and those customers, we don't meet face to face. We don't go and see them for obvious reasons. We have engaged with them because we've got a presence online in the digital world. Our shop front is there with every other organisation in the world, so we're able to supply not just as was conventional, you know, 30 years ago, within 100 or 200 miles of your geographic location. It's a global marketplace, and we can take advantage of that.
And if you look at digital, it is a form of like emancipation. You know, you're not tied to the desk anymore. You can move about. You can be mobile. You can get as much information as you want, wherever you want, when you want it. You know, when I look at my my last full-time role, working with a Japanese company, communication became literally all digital, because even with, you know, an English person speaking Japanese or a Japanese person speaking English, there's always, you know, a bit of difficulty. But if it's typed down on an email, you still need to meet up, you still need to have a beer with them occasionally to get that sort of bond going. But you know, the pace and accuracy of communication is far superior to what it used to be, but it's far quicker. Quicker.
And I think that old adage of people buy from people, they still do. So you mentioned first meetings, you like to do face to face, and I agree with you on that. Maintenance meetings, online, digital media. But also I think there's a changing landscape where people like us need to get used to the fact that the cyber world is a slightly different world. We've still got to be able to build relationships, build that bond and that rapport, which ultimately ends up in trust. And that's the people buy from people. Don't have to be face to face. And they're subtle changes in skill sets that the successful people will make and apply.
But we're talking about relationships, and we're talking in the context of manufacturing, but we're now talking about machines learning from machines, and machines communicating with machines without any, you know...
No human involvement.
No human involvement at all. You know, you look at Nissan up the road in Sunderland, last time I spoke, they've got something like 5,000 pieces of internet-enabled equipment all communicating with each other. You know, they've got thousands of robots, particularly welding robots, because there's a large body plant, and they're learning from each other. When, you know, they're teaching themselves when they need to sharpen the weld tip. So we talk mainly so far about the peripheral things on manufacturing and the systems and processes, but the real nub of it for me is how do we enhance manufacturing? You know, I was in a business recently and I spoke to the technical manager, who I expected to be quite an innovative kind of person given that he was technical manager. And I said, do you have a digital strategy? And he said, well, I don't really know what it is because I don't really know what digital is. And this is, a company that makes some fantastic product, but
oh boy,
yeah. You've got, within the same county, we've got companies operating at the absolute edge of digital technology, and we've got other companies that are still utilising analog controls in their business. They're going to be extinct pretty soon. They need to change. They need to move. All of the MDs, all the owners of all these businesses, number one piece of advice I would give to anybody is get a digital strategy, particularly in the core of manufacturing and all of the support services. I was with a very, very senior, eminent manufacturing leader recently, and I was with him with Hitachi, and we showed him a piece of software that enabled him to see that the operator was carrying out the process exactly how we should be doing it each time, every time. And his words were, that's the holy grail of manufacturing. That gives us zero defects, consistency, yep. Standardisation, and shout out, might not be news to lots of people, but our competitors in China and India are advancing so fast on the digital piece. They've not only got the benefits of low-cost labour, if we're not careful, they're going to become more advanced digitally, and they're going to be beating us in every competition going.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, some of those regions of the world you've just mentioned, they're at advantage, disadvantage. They are at a position where they can start greenfield site. They don't have those legacy systems. They don't have poor infrastructure. They don't have anything, so they can start from scratch and do it really well right from the outset.
Yeah.
So in our industry sector, our aim is to try and accelerate what our customers can do.
Yeah.
Apply our technology to not just achieve end goals, but achieve those end goals much quicker, 10 times faster.
Yeah.
Because, as you said earlier, we are in a catch-up scenario.
Yeah.
And unless we change and adapt and put ourselves in a position where we can flex and do that continual improvement, as you mentioned earlier, from a manufacturing standpoint, but from an information and a process standpoint, that continual improvement, ability to pivot, change and adapt to the circumstances, it's crucial.
I was recently talking to the owners of a really, really large piece of real estate with lots of residents on board and some very, very expensive security costs. And I've suggested to them that if they introduce 5G, they could then introduce digital security. And the saving of that, I think, would be something in the region of about £2.5 million a year.
Oof.
Saving, not turnover, saving.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it would also give the residents, their customers, a superior service. It could be linked to national police databases. You could have roving equipment, drones, robots. You could have driverless vehicles. Going around sites with cameras on, with the likes of LiDAR, picking up things. And with these modern video analytics, they learn their environment. And if they've done a tour, and let's say there was a piece of equipment there, and then the next time they go past, it's not there, they can recognise that through artificial intelligence and alert the owners that a piece of plant's moved. Has it been stolen? or somebody moved it. Again, it's a superior customer experience.
Absolutely. And you're talking there about taking automation from relatively simple robotic tasks, but into the real world, out into the environment that human beings walk around in and live in.
Yeah.
So the use of drone technology, whether it's politically hot potato and sensitive at the moment, that will be used more and more and more, whether it's deliveries, security, customer experience, all that stuff. I agree. It is the merging together in Industry 4.0 of a lot of different streams of technological advancement.
We've seen logistics really adopt digital, and we've seen retail really adopt digital by moving online. There are, I believe, a lot of digital opportunities on physical stores. There's digital security, digital cashiers desks, all of that kind of thing, digital customer service. What we're not seeing is manufacturing adopt digital at the same rate those others are. And logistics, we're already seeing operating on private roads, driverless 40-foot trailers, moving product around, millions of pounds worth of savings. But in manufacturing, we're still relying quite often on the lowest common denominator, which is an operator. And let's face it, it's on the low pay scale.
Yeah.
But we rely implicitly on them getting something right each time, every time, to achieve zero defects. Well, I don't think that's fair. There's very highly paid people out there who've got the skills and knowledge that can make that operator's task so much easier and make them experience success every time.
Yeah. It's interesting, you just touched on something there about real world environments and retail going online and being successful. So I was talking to somebody recently, I won't name a brand because I don't know whether this is out there in the real world now or what they are seeking to achieve, but they were talking about the citizen likes to touch and feel the goods that they're buying. So if I use the example of a big screen TV, because we have one beside us, you can buy them online, and it's probably a commodity item these days, but you might want to go and try that item out.
Yeah.
Touch it, feel it, see the quality, see its features, etc., and go to a store to do that. So they're talking about implementing technology whereby the store intelligently knows that Mike Matthews is in front of this BenQ flat screen TV.
Yeah.
Can tell you on your phone that this device is available online at these different places at these prices. So it'll tell you where you are going to go and look for that device.
Yeah.
And also tell you, we'll make you an offer to match that here today.
Yeah.
So that you don't go off onto the internet and buy it somewhere else. You don't have to take it away. It's still delivered from the internet. You've bought it online. It's been delivered by that store to your home.
Yeah.
But you've been somewhere where they've added value to your experience. You can touch it, feel it. They'll tell you where else you can go to buy it, but also tell you, but we'll match their prices.
Yeah.
And they do that with proximity, understanding what you're looking at, all clever technologies, but converging together to make your buying experience much easier.
Yeah.
Purchasing easy.
Yeah.
We're all into that.
Yeah. What I'm really interested in is how we can see the rapid evolution of digital in manufacturing, because as you've just described, a perfect scenario of a highly evolved business process, business model. We need equivalent of that in manufacturing if we want to maintain a place as a global success in manufacturing. I alluded to earlier about how digital can help us guarantee the process, guarantee quality. It can also help us track goods, through a business. The number of times, I've had a discussion with a guy because we've had a shortage, and he said to me, well, the computer said we had them in stock.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever go and check?
Yeah.
No, but now you don't need to. You can install digital equipment in warehouses that can monitor
Yep.
and give your guys constant feedback about what's in stock, what's moved. You know, I also introduced a digital warehouse picking routine, and you know, at the start of it, we started off, you wouldn't have believed it, we had something like 44 pickers in this operation, and by the end of it, we introduced an intelligent, smart, based on a learning stock system, and we reduced the number of operators by 20. Now, people say, well, those people lost the job. No, not actually, because that allowed us to become more competitive, win more work, and become a bigger business. And those people just got absorbed into the business.
Absolutely.
In other places.
Absolutely.
We just made every aspect of the business. You know, I also used to run, 80 or 90 moulding machines, and I could jump on my PC and I could see at a glance which machine was running to cycle and which one wasn't. And you know, the way I've been brought up in manufacturing, I'm not interested in the good news, I'm interested in the bad news.
Yep.
And the digital helps us identify the bad news so we can go and address that bad news.
As we start to wrap up, there's something else that you touched on that resonated very readily with me. The companies that are at the leading edge, that have adopted these technologies, etc., they've been through many iterations in the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult for companies to implement brand new technology as a revolution. It's a big bang.
Yes.
So the organisations that are catching up are going to have to go through those iterations, but much more quickly.
Yeah.
And the ability to recognise your deficiencies, implement something, improve, do another improvement, improve on that, and so on. They need to get to the point where the really successful players are today, but not as a big bang.
Yeah.
Some companies can, they're the rarities, and that insinuates that they're going to go through those iterations. They just need to go through them much quicker.
Yeah.
What's your view on that?
They do. That's absolutely correct. But you know, I was always taught, you know, if you want something doing quick, give it to a lazy guy because he'll find an easy way of doing it. And you know, I have a phrase I've used for many words, which is R&D, which I think, well, that's not a new phrase. That's been used in manufacturing, engineering, and chemistry for years. But my phrase is, my interpretation of R&D is rip off and duplicate. Go and benchmark, network, go and see successful companies, see what they're using, see how they're doing, and that will accelerate your iterations and probably enable you to leapfrog many of them. And you know, with companies like yourselves, Ian, put in bespoke solutions that are going to be far more cost effective and far more fit for purpose than anything that's off the shelf.
Yeah. Well, on that happy note, if you want to see any of our customers and learn from some of those experiences, be happy to take you along and you can meet some of them.
It's something that I've done for many years, networking, benchmarking. You know, it's something that's a very powerful tool within the automotive sector. I mean, for those that don't know, the first thing that happens when a new model gets launched, the competitors buy it, they strip it down, they tear it down, they look at how it's made and see if they can learn from it.
Yep.
You know, we just need to do the same for our own business, don't we?
Absolutely. Mike, it's been a pleasure having you in today.
Great.
Hopefully you've enjoyed the discussion.
Very much.
And hopefully this educates some people who need that assistance.
Yeah, it's all about that digital enablement journey, identifying a path, but to identify the path, you need to identify where you want to end up.